What is up, my peepholes? This is your guy, Cly, and welcome back to Budget Buys. Today was going to be a DIY video, but after the performance of the chainmail spinner versus the dollar store spinner, I decided to change things up a little bit. Turns out I may have gone a little bit too complex on the last one, and people like following along at home, so I'm kicking up a few of my projects a little bit, and I may or may not have a hydro dip in the works, as well as some alternatives. So instead, what I'm going to do is talk about one of the weirdest spinners I've been able to get my hands on. At the time I ordered it, it was actually the cheapest I could find on the market, though sadly it has been supplanted since then. That one is now in the mail. What I want to talk about is this little guy. This set me back less than $1. It was 88 cents to order this guy, and yeah, you can kind of tell, but not really in a bad way. First off, I got it from the website AliExpress.com. It's the site you go to when you want to find just some of the weirdest, cheapest stuff on the internet, and not gonna lie, that seems to be where a lot of Amazon and eBay sellers tend to source their stuff. So, the specific seller I bought it from is called Baby's World Store, because you totally want to give this to a toddler, right? That couldn't result in lost teeth and a busted nose, no. Alright, let's get to the nitty-gritty. First off, you'll notice it doesn't use additional bearings as counterweights like a lot of the more traditional tri-spinners do. Instead, it uses, well, very cheap metal plugs. And when I say very cheap, I mean you can actually see that it didn't pour properly. There's a bit of marring and just some little slag marks. So they were cranked out as fast as possible. Fortunately, I've done a bit of testing, and I'm very certain, not 100%, but I am very certain it does not contain lead, which is interesting due to just how weighty they are. Now, I can't scratch it with a fingernail, which if you had lead or pewter, you actually really could scratch it with a fingernail. I've also taken other pieces of metal to it, and I've gotten no scratches, so I'm willing to carry it. I'm not willing to hand them out willy-nilly, just in case, but I'm willing to trust my own health to it. So that should tell you something. You'll also notice that it has a yellow button. Turns out the colors of the buttons that you get with these completely random. In fact, Baby's World Store is one of the few shops on AliExpress that doesn't just give you a completely random spinner. I actually paid 3 cents more. I could have gotten this for 88 cents, that's what I paid for it. I could have gotten it for 85 cents if I was willing to get a completely random color. But I wanted red. Specifically, I wanted the one pictured, which was red with a white button, which would have given me a bit of a YouTube-themed spinner. Instead, I am stuck with red and a yellow button, so I'm going to say it's a flash spinner, but it could easily be mistaken for a Ronald McDonald / McDonald's spinner, so it's got a little bit of a downside there. Let me go ahead and take the button off. Let me just reach around my microphone here. There we go. It isn't held in by friction. Instead, it uses pegs. That actually makes it a lot easier. It uses a center hole right there on one side with a fitting peg to give you a decent grip. I'm wondering if they cast that off of a shrunken mold from some of the nicer buttons, because I have seen threaded ones, and they do make molding compounds as well as things you can cast into molds that shrink over time, so I could see them having just scaled it down from one of those. Onto the bearing proper. There we go. This is a much better version of the R188 that I used in this spinner. It feels like it's actually made out of steel, or at least some better, much more reputable metal. Still a 7-ball variety, as you can see there, but it's got a good glide to it. I should also point out that it does indeed feel pretty sturdy. Oh, and it's actually miniature. It's scaled to the size of the R188 versus the 608 used in this one. And if you didn't see it previously, let me just take this button back out because I closed it up like an idiot. There we go. It looks like it actually might have been cast using a similar method that I said the buttons were done with, because it's got a weird little indentation around where the bearing sits. A little indentation around there. And yeah, I'm wondering if they basically took a standard spinner, put a little something extra inside for when it scales down over time with either a shrinking mold or shrinking molding compound, and then just shoved in an R188 when they were ready. Either way, you've got a mini spinner. So if you're looking for something a bit smaller to carry in your pocket than a standard tri-spinner, but you still want to stick with a tri-spinner, you might want to think about something like this. Now, I know what a lot of you are here for. It's time for the spin test. So let's fade into that, and I'll be right back afterwards. And there we go. I honestly wasn't expecting to get over 2 minutes out of this little guy, especially with the very crappy plastic bag it was shipped in. But yeah, even since day one, I've been pulling over 2 minutes. So that's cool. I will admit that I've been playing around with it a little bit, so the bearing is somewhat broken in, but I've gained maybe 20 seconds out of that, so I'm starting to be a convert to the R188 versus the 608. Of course, that doesn't mean I don't like the 608, because aesthetically speaking, I like the bigger, chunkier bearing, as seen here. And actually, thinking about it, I do have an R1, not an R1, sorry, a 608 coming in. I just so happened to find a ceramic 608 bearing for under $1. So we'll see if that one's any good. It might be in here in about 2 to 3 weeks. It shipped out same day I ordered it, so that was nice. Once again, it's from AliExpress.com. Also, I have the 50 cents spinner, or 52 cent spinner. So we'll see if a spinner that is cheaper than this, and honestly, in the pictures, it looks like such horrible quality. It looks like it should have come out of a capsule vending machine. I should have been able to go to a local grocery store, drop 50 cents in a machine, and just get one of those out of it. It looks that bad. But then again, I thought this little guy looked terrible online, and I've been impressed. So we'll see how that goes. I also have a couple of cheapo metal spinners coming in. One of them was $2.19 for a metal tri-spinner. The other one was $1.98 for a torque bar style, with the ones with 2 counterweights like this one. And that one, that one's going to be a really, really interesting review, because it's supposedly new for 2017, and they actually don't have any production photos of it. The only thing shown on the store page is the computer-generated concept art. They don't even take the time to make it look realistic, because they have a stock photo holding their hand out like this, and just a poorly photoshopped version of it sitting in their hand. They even have some very poorly photoshopped display boxes made up. I may have to go and rip that art from the store, because it might disappear. It's something that might just go up in smoke, so I need that in hand so that I can show you what it was supposed to look like versus what it does look like. And one more thing about that specific model is that each store has sold at best 30. There's about 4 or 5 different sellers for the same model, same price range. Each one has sold maybe 30 or made 30 sales in general. So we'll see if that one even shows up. If it doesn't, I spent $2. I don't mind risking that for a video for you folks. That's it for this review. I've got to get back to work on some of those DIYs because, well, I have a couple of them that I'm going to keep a little bit secret. They are easy to follow at home, and they have an advanced version in the same video, so it'll be kind of neat. Also, the hydro dip will be fun. I do indeed have a hydro dip in the works, as well as some alternative methods that might be easier for people to get their hands on, yet still look as cool, if not a bit cooler. I like coming up with stuff like this. This is why I'm doing the spinner videos, to check out cheap stuff and to figure out how to make stuff. And that, my fine peepholes, is the under $1 fidget spinner. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like. If you dislike this video or think I could have done something better, go ahead and leave a dislike, I don't mind. If you have any suggestions for future items to review, be they fidget spinner or non, or you just want to say hello, go ahead and leave a comment. I try to reply to everybody. If you want to see more fidget toy videos, I'll go ahead and pop up a playlist around here somewhere. If this is your first time seeing one of my videos and you liked what you saw, want to see more in the future, go ahead and subscribe. And of course, until next time, this is your Guy Cly, signing off.